This video is brought to you by ProBoxingSupplies.com, where you can receive 25% off your purchase now, and PowerPerformanceProducts.com, where you can receive $10 off your purchase of Body Storm and Body Effects.
All right, guys. The attendance was 14,592, $3.4 million gate. The way that the bonuses went tonight, there is no fight of the night. We gave 2 knockout bonuses, one to Nelson and one to Hardy. We gave 2 submission bonuses, one to Sass and one to Struve. They won $70,000 each. So congratulations. Who's first?
Hey, Dana.
Hey, buddy.
Congratulations. It was a good card tonight. First of all, you know, you have so many good fighters stacked up in one division. This was kind of a clever gimmick to have all the heavyweights fight on one card. I wonder what you think of sometime down the future doing it with lightweights or some other division, you know, just putting 5 fights and having them all fight on the same card.
Things don't always go my way, you know. You don't always... the main event wasn't originally the main event. You never know what's going to happen. So, you know, it would be fun to say that we could do a heavyweight card, once in a while lightweight, middleweight, whatever, but it doesn't always work out that way. This thing just kind of happened.
And what was your reaction? I mean, it seemed like, you know, you had a ton of finishes tonight. I mean, a lot of good performances. I mean, your last 3 fights, you know, really, I mean, the whole main card was really good, but I mean, the last 3 fights were really conclusive. I mean, do you look at this and say that it, you know, kind of gave you a shot in the arm?
It was a great night. You know, all the fights were great. Well, almost all the fights were great. And on paper, this card looked awesome, and it lived up to the hype.
And I know you don't like to talk about future fights, but I mean, obviously you had Cain win in unbelievable fashion tonight, and Junior, you know, looked very good. I mean, it's hard to see who's going to beat Junior other than maybe Cain. Now, what do you think about making that fight again, and do you see that, you know, as the most likely next fight?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I like it.
Okay, so let's start talking time frame.
That I don't know, but yeah, we like that fight. You know, Cain went undefeated for a long time, lost to Junior. He defends the title, he wins. I like the fight. Let's see what happens.
Question for Roy, right in front, Roy. First of all, I don't know what your comment about the Carl's Jr. there was. It a sponsorship bid, or what were you doing?
No, I'm just hungry. I saw a push jab, and then I was like, oh, I can come right over the top, and then I threw it 3 punches, landed 2 of them. One was up here and one was down there.
Just one, and also you being one of the few guys, maybe the only guy I can't remember that went a long time with Junior. You know, what is it like being in there with him? And you know, it seemed like, you know, a lot of people talked about he had speed and punching accuracy, but you didn't hear a lot of people talking about his power. But I think, you know, maybe tonight after what they said, his power would come into play. What do you take? You've been in there with him, and you know what Frank was up against tonight.
I think when everybody asked, you know, who's going to win that fight, I said JDS hands down. I think it's, you know, the way I look at it is there's only one guy that's actually, you know, gave, you know, Junior a run for his money where, you know, he was afraid to get hit, and that was with me. But, you know, I'm up for whatever, so who cares?
What was your take, by the way, on you know, that question? You know, Junior seemed like a lot of people said he had great speed, great technical boxing, but you never heard a lot of people talking about his power, but it seemed like he was really, you know...
He does, though, yeah.
He was hurting Frank.
I think he knocked everybody out but Roy.
Yeah, and he was really hurting Frank with those shots tonight. It didn't seem like he was throwing, you know, like Roy did, you know.
No, he's got power, speed, good takedown defense. You know, he's got it. Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was just curious if you would entertain the idea of giving Cain Velasquez another shot at the belt.
I did. Yeah, I just said it.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I was tweeting the game.
I hear you.
Dana, that was kind of the non-committal committal, though. Can we get a firm answer that that is the next fight?
Yeah.
I like that fight. I like that fight. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cain deserves the next fight. You know, I mean, come on, you guys want me to let out the venue, the time.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, Cain, let's talk about that on the idea that it looks like this is probably going to be the next fight for you. How does that make you feel? Talk about, you know, the performance tonight, how it feels to know that it looks like you're going to get another title shot next.
It feels great, you know. I mean, the whole reason why I got into the sport is to be the champ, you know, and I just don't feel right now, you know, with not having that, so.
Obviously, a great performance tonight. What was the key to it? First of all, were you shocked that the kick came in early and you were able to get the fight to the ground so quick? What was the key overall?
You know, no, you know, with him fighting Daniel and And Mike Howe, he's kicked early a couple times, and we just said, you know, if he does kick it right away, then, you know, I'll obviously catch it, take him down, and you know, that's what he did. You know, he kicked, and yeah, that's what we did.
And a lot of people said that going into the last fight, it wasn't really you. You know, there was an injury. They don't think that was the real fight, you know, that you would put out there. Is there anything, because I know you don't like to make excuses, but, you know, how do you see a second fight going?
You know, definitely much better on my part.
And if I could ask one of Frank now that you're here, obviously, Frank, thank you for stopping by. Obviously, a tough fight for you tonight. Can you talk about how the fight played out versus your expectations? Obviously, you looked at the takedown very early, but then really didn't go for it again after that. Was it just because of the difficulty, or how did things play out for you?
Oh, no, I wanted to get the takedown early. I thought that it would catch him by surprise. When it didn't work, I thought I would have to go ahead and just try to, he defended it so well that I just wanted to wait a little bit longer in the fight, see if I could get him to forget about it. I didn't want it to be fresh on his mind. You know, his footwork was awesome. That's the thing I think I had the hardest time with. Most guys my size don't bounce in and out like that. And so even though I sparred with smaller guys, you know, Hardy and stuff, to simulate the hand speed, I guess I should have had them jumping in and out more to try to simulate that aspect of it. But it was something that, you know, James, or, you know, Giffey told me coming up to, you know, hey, he's probably going to, you know, not be the in-your-face fighter we thought he was going to be. He's probably going to throw a punch, jump back out, and just use his foot speed. Knowing what to do and then being able to do it are two different things, though.
Fair enough, but I could just ask one question of the champ as well. Junior, obviously, congratulations on your win tonight. Can you talk about how the fight played out versus your expectations? You actually called yesterday that it was going to be a knockout in the second round. It seemed that you were very, very patient. What was the game plan, and how did it play out versus your expectations?
Well, my game plan is always to keep fighting on my feet, you know, and looking for the knockout. And Frank Mir is a very dangerous fighter, you know, especially when he takes you down. And he tried to do that, and I tried to make him a little bit more tired in the first round, and I came to the second round to knock him out. That was my strategy, and that worked. Thank God for that.
Dana, lots been made of Dan Hardy's run. You know, he's had a tough time in those last few fights. Tell us, you know, kind of why you stuck with him, and even tonight, you know, you tweeted, you know, after his victory, kind of what you thought of his performance tonight.
Yeah, he looked good. He went in against the guy. You know, we knew what was going to happen in this fight. These guys were both going to stand, and they were going to bang, and he won. He looked great. You know, Dan Hardy is one of those guys that brings it. We like guys who fight. This kid fights. He's excited about fighting. He's a fun guy, and he's a fun fighter. We like him. So.
And Stephen, if I could ask you, you know, you were prepared for Mark Hunt, and you know, just last week the injury put Hunt out of the fight. Tell us kind of how your game plan changed when you got LeVar Johnson.
Well, you know, they're both heavy-end strikers, so there wasn't an awful lot to change. You know, I knew that, you know, the moment I would get him to the ground, the fight would be pretty much over. You know, so you know, we made a couple small changes to the game plan, and you know, we knew there was two things he could do: let me come at him and try to counter with wild haymakers, or come at me like he did and try to do the same thing he did the last two fights. So he did it, and when I got a hold of the arm, I just, you know, it came up in my head that the way I was holding it, I trained it actually, you know, a couple of weeks ago, the flying arm bar. I wanted to jump straight into it, but, you know, got a little later. So.
Marcus Corver with the MMA Ninja Studio MMA. First question for you, Dan. Was the game plan to stand and bang with the Dwayne Ludwig, or was it just that you caught him and then that was it, or was there a backup plan then?
To be honest, I was a little bit disappointed I didn't get to show the rest of my game tonight. I've been working real hard on rounding out my game and, you know, being dangerous everywhere it goes. So, you know, I knew that Dwayne was a kickboxer, and I know that he was going to come in and try and use that ability. So, you know, I found a few things in his game that I thought I could exploit. One of them being his counter right hand, which I pulled with the fake. You know, I threw a fake and got him to bring that away from his chin a little bit, and then crept a left hook around the side, and you know, it landed tonight. You know, if it hadn't have done, you know, I might have worked for something else, and you know, I had a lot of tools in the bag that I wanted to try out, and unfortunately, the left hook stole the show again.
And for Cain, one, did you get a chance to see the main event, and if so, if you have any comments on what you saw?
Yeah, you know, those Santos look, you know, he looked good. You know, his hands are always good. His movement, you know, in and out, being quick, taking on defense is good. I mean, this is always how he looks.
And lastly, for Junior, you predicted a second round knockout. One, was it really something that you thought was going to happen, or was it, and if so, if it was something in his game that you saw that would make that prediction?
No, that was my strategy for the fight. You know, that what I was thinking for the fight. You know, I thought he came for the fight to pin me down. You know, and in the first round I was trying to keep my distance. You know, and make him tired, like I said. And the second round, my plan was to walk a little bit more forward than the first. You know, and I don't know, that works, you know, and I think when you believe so much in your performance, in yourself, things happen, you know. That's why I'm so positive in what I think.
First question is for Dana. Dana, did you ever see or heard so many Brazilians here in Vegas? What you think about this? To me, sometimes sounds like UFC in Rio.
Yeah, no, it seemed like there were a lot of Brazilians. There were a lot of Mexicans here tonight. It was a great card, a great crowd tonight. A lot of energy. Hardy got a huge pop. Big Country got a huge pop. I mean, everybody, the people were going crazy tonight. It was a really good crowd.
And what after this, what do you expect for Anderson against Tony?
What do I expect for what?
Anderson against Tony. After this cheer, Brazilian guys, what do you expect for Anderson against Tony here?
How do I think it's going to be?
Yes.
I think it's going to be crazy. I think that's I think there's going to be a lot of Brazilians that will travel for that fight, and I think that yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Just one little question in Portuguese for Cigano. Cigano, na mesma linha, você se surpreendeu com a comunidade brasileira? Você conseguiu ouvir ali de dentro do octógono a vibração dos brasileiros e o quanto isso te ajudou nessa luta?
Say what you said first, and then.
Okay, I asked to him if he was surprised with so many Brazilians and if he can hurt the Brazilian guys too.
Okay. Me surpreendeu bastante, sim, a quantidade de brasileiro que estava aqui me fez muito feliz também ver muitas bandeiras brasileiras no meio da galera toda lá. Então foi muito importante para mim, me fez feliz que o pessoal veio para me assistir. Muitos falaram que vieram só para minha luta. Então fiquei muito feliz por isso.
Yeah, it was fantastic for me to see, you know, seeing all of the Brazilian flags and all of the Brazilian people in the crowd made me so proud and so energized, and every time I looked up, and I could definitely hear them, I could see the flags, and I've been running into a lot of people this week in the hotel who said, you know, they came here specifically to watch me fight, and they were cheering for me, and they'd stop me in the hallways and wish me luck, so it was just such a really great positive vibe, and I'm very proud to be here representing everybody from Brazil, and I thank them for their support.
Mr. White, with Dan Hardy's victory, does that punch his ticket to be a coach for the Ultimate Fighter to smashes?
No.
Dana in the back over here. A lot of people very surprised to see Brock Lesnar. He wasn't a guy who would come to fights when he was a member of the UFC.
You got that right?
What was he doing here?
I don't know. Apparently now he's a big fan.
Is there anything more to that?
Yeah.
Anything that you'd like to share?
No. He was here. I mean, I think that says it all.
Is there a chance that he may come back?
Possibly, yeah.
So you've talked to him about this?
No.
You're just hoping that he'll come back?
When I do, I'll let you know.
Okay. And for Junior, obviously there was supposed to be a very big stadium show. It didn't work out because of the UN conference. Do you think that you're at a point now with your popularity, based on the fans that came all the way here and what you see back home, that maybe you and Cain can headline a stadium show in Brazil?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's I think that can happen in Brazil. You know, we make our fight in a stadium, and for sure the Brazilian people is gonna make the stadium full to watch our fight. And I don't know who UFC wants to put for my next opponent, but I think it's gonna be Velasquez.
And just one last one, again for Dana. 2 great British wins on this card, and there are a lot of rumors about a return to the UK. and maybe in Dan's hometown. Is there anything that is confirmed just yet for the return?
Yeah, no, that is happening, and yeah, Dan will probably be on that card.
Paul as well?
Possibly.
Thank you.
This is a question for Roy. Roy, concerning your overhand right, I mean, that is a really, really great tool considering you're a smaller heavyweight. Is that something that you've been just training for over the years to really make that adjustment, or has that just been one of your favorite punches throughout your entire career?
No, it's just, I think it just worked out. Like today was just like, my plan was actually to go and submit Dave. That was my goal. And then he just threw a push jab, and then after that I was like, oh, I could just throw it over the top and follow it right in, and that's what I did. And then I didn't have to throw any more punches after that.
And this one's for Jamie, which, I mean, you really had the real moment, in my opinion, of the night. And at what point did you really feel like? At what point did you really feel like this fight had now turned from an underdog story to the fact that you had turned the tide and really knew that you had this fight in the bag?
When Seema Scotty stepped in, Junior, well, not Junior, sorry. Edson is so tough and dynamic, and I knew if I let up, even for a second, I mean, a kick, a punch could end the night for me. So when the ref stepped in, obviously I knew it was over, but there was one point I hit him with the right hand, I saw his eyes roll back. And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's really hurt. So I just stayed on him and went in for the kill. It was surreal. I saw this fight ending so many ways, but I didn't see me knocking him out in the first round. That was definitely not something that I could even envision. I thought I was playing for a 15-minute war and having my after party in the hospital because I was so beat up with this guy. So it was a great fight, and it's just a great opportunity.
This video is brought to you by Boss Rutan's O2 Trainer and Fight Me, a fearless expression. What are you willing to fight for?
Godspeed and party on.